What's up and welcome back to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Friday, April 28th, 2023. Of course, I am Tim Geddes and I am joined by my very good friend, Tamoor Hussain.
It's good to be here again. I forgot about the smoke and it scared the shit out of me.
You forget about it and it scares you every time. Even when you know it's coming, it can still kind of surprise you every once in a while. There is a delicatness?
Yeah.
Is that what? Yeah. Delicateness to the way that Barrett blows the smoke compared to the way that Kevin does. Like, I don't know what it is. It's just hitting a button, but I know when it's Kevin. You know what I mean? It's always the millisecond off on either side that gets you.
Yeah.
You know?
But I like it. It was fun.
How you doing, Tam?
I'm doing good, you know. A lot of video games
good
to
time
think about. It's a good time to be a gamer. So I am gamer tired, if you know what that means.
100%.
Like when you're tired, but from doing gamer stuff a lot.
Yeah.
So that's a good place to be in life. How are you, Tim?
I'm doing real good. Speaking of being tired with the gamer stuff, playing Jedi Survivor is my first real experience playing a game with the DualSense Edge.
Oh, yeah.
Enjoying it quite a bit. Really, really premium, high quality controller. I like the way that it feels. It has a nice like substantialness to it.
Yeah.
You like edging.
But the problem is the edges themselves, Barrett. They kind of get my hands sweatier than the DualSense did.
Really?
The little ridges on it, where it's like
It's hard not to sweat when you're
the
edging.
ruffles have ridges thing. Like they, I don't know. And I get the Jedi Survivor is a sweaty game for me.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a sweaty game for sweaty gamers.
But I'm a little like, oh, I don't know about this. And I was like going back and forth to the original DualSense. I'm like, it's a pros and cons situation.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, are the little extra buttons allowing me to sprint easier, worth the extra sweat? I don't know.
We should do like a survey on what controller makes your hands sweat, because the Switch Pro controller makes my hands sweat more than any other controller, and I don't know why.
See, I feel like the Switch Pro controller to me is the one that I'm like, oh, I'm feeling like I got a little AC on me, baby.
We got to figure out what's going on here. What's the science behind these controllers?
What is the science behind all this? Speaking of science, if you get hit in the chest, it's going to leave a bruise. That's just exactly what happened. Tab, yesterday, Austin Creed, WWE superstar Xavier Woods came through. And I want to say for charity, but it wasn't for charity. It was just for Greg's birthday. We all took multiple chops to the chest. I'm definitely feeling it right now.
Yeah, I was like, I'm impressed. One, you guys all took your shirt off on camera.
I know.
Which is like,
that was the bravest thing for me to do.
Couldn't be me.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, they're going to actually like allow a WWE superstar to hit him, which is one, pain. Two, unless your body is tight, people are going to slow that down and watch those ripples move.
Oh, and there's a lot of rips.
You know what? I was like, good on you for doing that. Good on you.
Bear, would it be possible for you to bring up the video of that? Where, you just see Greg's life change. Like, he is a changed man after that. I think Greg took 4 hits yesterday.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely insane. I could only do the one. The hit was bad. I will say it's not as bad as I expected it to be. I think he went a little easy on me.
He definitely is, yeah.
Did not go easy on Greg at all. But yeah, like you said, like the hardest part about this was getting the courage to take my shirt off on camera, especially because I was doing it with my brother, and I'm like, I do not want to be shirtless next to my brother. Like, this sucks.
The funny thing is, like, Greg's one, like, if you look at his chest, like, the instant it connects, everything around it just goes red.
Yeah.
And
Greg's
Andy is like just laughing his head off.
Yeah, man. Kevin taking it like a champ.
Yeah.
God. Cool, Greg. Straight up no selling it.
No selling it.
Very good.
And then we'll get to me in a sec here. I'm scared.
There we go. Fair play for taking it.
You can go to youtube.com/kindoffunnygames to check out our entire ridiculous stream that we did yesterday for Greg Miller's 40th birthday. Greg Miller will return to Kinda Funny next week, and I'm very excited about all of that. That noise was me. So enough about all that. Today, we're talking about some video games because this is Kinda Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday, we get together live on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames and youtube.com/kindoffunnygames to tell you about all the video game news that you need to know, including stories like Star Wars Jedi Survivor's PC issues, Twisted Metal getting a first trailer, hell yes, and more. Remember, you can also watch later on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames if live isn't your thing. You could also listen as a podcast by searching your favorite podcast service for Kinda Funny Games Daily, and we'll be right there for you. If you want to be part of the show, kindafunny.com/KFGDs, where you want to go to write in all your questions, squad ups, and more. And remember, patreon.com/kindafunny will get you the show ad-free, plus a bevy of bonus content, and you get to be a cool Patreon producer like Tripod Plus Plus and Delaney Twining. Some housekeeping for you. A new episode of PS I Love You XOXO is up right now where the crew answers all of your reader mail. You can check that out in all the normal places. And we're continuing our experiment here after this, but before the stream, we're going to be hanging out. It'll be me, Tam, and SnowBikeMike answering all of your super chats right after this show about all the stories from this episode, or just whatever video game stuff you want to ask us, or if you just want to compliment Tam's absolutely
Ask me
amazing outfit.
AMA. Ask me anything.
Yes,
I'll tell
ask
you.
him anything you want. Today we're brought to you by Rocket Money, but we'll tell you all about that later. For now, let's begin with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. It's time for some news. We have 7 stories today.
A baker's dozen.
Fuck, you got me
Story
again.
number 1. It's scared you again?
Got me again.
EA and Respawn speak out on PC performance issues for Jedi Survivor. This comes from EA Star Wars on Twitter. Also, happy Jedi Survivor Day for everybody out there. You can go play that game.
May the Fourth
or
be
check
with
out
you.
our review on Kind of Funny Games Cast. I love that there's confetti that's just falling from the sky.
Yeah.
Like, where did that even
I
come
don't know.
I imagine.
Oh my God, there's so much in the lights.
Yeah, I imagine that might be why one of the lights is a little bit noisier today. But I imagine they're falling from the force of the fog machine, like blowing towards
Yeah.
them, and they're starting to move a little bit.
Yeah, there's one light that has got a lot of confetti
Lot of
in it,
stars.
and the others have none.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
Good to know for everybody. I'm going to read out this little message here. We're aware that Star Wars Jedi Survivor isn't performing to our standards for a percentage of our PC players. It's a large percentage. Damn, let me tell you what. In particular, those with high-end machines or certain specific configurations. For example, players using cutting-edge multi-threaded chipsets designed for Windows 11 were encountering problems on Windows 10, or high-end GPUs coupled with lower-performing CPUs also saw unexpected frame loss. Rest assured, we're working to address these cases quickly. While there's no single comprehensive solution for PC performance, I'm so glad Greg's not here today for this story. The team has been working on fixes we believe will improve performance across a spectrum of configurations. We're committed to fixing these issues as soon as possible, but each patch requires significant testing to ensure we don't introduce new problems. Thanks for understanding, and apologies to any of our players experiencing these issues. We will continue to monitor performance across all platforms and share update timing as soon as it is available. From the Star Wars Jedi team.
Firstly, I'm supremely disappointed that they wrote this in normal English and not like Yoda speak.
Yeah.
That is a big L for
In the
Respawn.
middle for a bit, I was a little bit like, what am I saying? There's a lot of just words here. I'm not sure if they are in
Yeah.
order or not.
So I think this is okay. So we got nothing to add to that, right? Like
Yeah.
it is what it is. The PC port of it sucks. If you were to ask me, should I buy Jedi Survivor right now on PC, I would tell you no. Play the console version if you desperately need to play it now, but keep in mind that the console version also has some issues. Many issues, but considerably less than the PC version. I think the broader discussion we got to have here is like, now that Greg is not in the room, but like, what is happening with PC ports these days? Because it is increasingly becoming more frequent that a game is like a mess on PC. It happens a lot. And there was a time, unless I'm like remembering with rose-tinted glasses, like when PC games just came out and they were the best version of the game because it was like you're using a graphics card that the console does not have, so you can pump out things like way cooler, way better resolution. All the effects are working, and it was like if you wanted to have the best possible experience, you played on PC. These days, like if you want to have the worst possible experience, play on PC. And it's an issue, obviously, because hardware configurations are a nightmare.
Yeah.
And there's so many of them now, and operating systems are like we're in a new Windows now, and who knows how it's reacting. But the long and short of it is like PC gamers are kind of getting a rough go of it, and have been for a long time now. And I feel like, given the investment that they put into it and the kind of potential of each game and how it could look on a PC, it feels like there's something that needs to be addressed there. Like, I don't know what side it comes on, whether it's development side or even hardware side or whatever it may be. But yeah, it's just disappointing to see one, because I play a lot of games on PC, and there was a time when I would always take the PC code or like try and get a PC version of the game. Nowadays, I'm like, I'm gonna wait and to see what's going on here. And more often than not, I'm finding that it's just busted on PC in a lot of ways, which is it's not a great time to be, you know.
Yeah, definitely not. And I think you nailed it, obviously, with the wide array of different configurations people could have for PCs. It kind of obviously complicates it, and it's a lot more difficult to make sure things run on everything from A to Z, as opposed to just, hey, it's a PS5. It either works or it doesn't. But I do think to your question of like, why is this happening more? I think it is just happening more because there are more games being put on PC.
Yeah.
Where back in the day, a PC game was a PC game and it ran best on PC because it was either only there or it was a port that was built from the ground up and probably a year or two later than the actual other release. And a lot of times it'd be like first-person shooters, the Call of Duty type games, Battlefields, and things like that. But I think it's like a newer trend now that as PC gaming has kind of gained more and more of an actual foothold in gaming as a whole, I think we're starting to get a lot of these third-person action adventure games, the more prestige console titles on PC. And a lot of them day and date, a lot of them close, but it does feel like in some ways they're not ports. It's like they're being developed alongside the console versions. And more often than not, it kind of results in none of the versions running as well as they would have if there was a focused, concerted effort on just one.
Yeah, I do. I mean, like, I'm going to reveal how much of a neophyte I am around development and that kind of stuff. But, like, these games are developed on PCs, right? Like, it's not like you're on a PlayStation 5 writing code in and design on for PCs and to execute on that stuff. So I think, like, the kind of, like, the thing that breaks me is, like, it should perform well on that PC. But I guess the thing is, like, you have to think about, I wonder if this is an indicator of where developers and publishers see the money being made as well. Like, I would love to know, I'm not saying I know the numbers, but I would love to know how well a game does on PC compared to its console counterparts, because it could be a situation where, like, yeah, they're being developed on PC, but, like, they're being developed with Xbox and PlayStation 5 architecture in mind to make sure it's things on there because, as good as it can be, because that's where the mainstream gaming audience is. And
the most people are going to play it there,
And then it's like, now how do we make sure that the PC version can operate on all these different levels? I wonder if that is probably some part of it, but I wonder how much of it is these days by looking at the ratio of games sold on console to PC. But yeah, you are right in that case. Like, we're just hearing more about it as well, which is a big
exactly.
thing.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like that's not an excuse in any way. It's like this, and like, you know, just the other side of this is the console versions of these games do not run well. Like, it's not like, oh, the PC port's broken. It's like, no, the game fundamentally has tech issues. I haven't talked to a single person playing through this game that hasn't had pretty bad tech issues, and like they might be more okay with it. Like, I am more okay with it because of the quality of the game, but like, that is seeing past some like glaring flaws that, like, a $70 title like this with this level of kind of prestige and production being put into it, like, it is so unfortunate that these are the stories. It's not like, oh man, this big multiplayer game came out, we should expect the servers to not work because XYZ. It's like, this is a fucking single player game. Yeah,
and also, like, some level of it is down to the technology powering the game, because there's quite a few of the issues that it has that are common with Fallen Order. So it kind of like, you draw the conclusion that it's got to be something engine side as well that they're trying to wrangle. And then you think about the engine, is it the same one that they use for Titanfall? I think so. You know, like, they're kind of bending the technology.
Kindoffunny.com/you're wrongest, but Blessing was talking about that Andy told him. So we're talking about a couple, like he said here, but that it's a different engine than cool. Apex and Titanfall.
I mean, like, it could be something in that kind of, like, the tools that they're using that makes it trickier, because there are commonalities between Fallen Order, Survivor, and I was playing it. I was like, oh, this was annoying me in the previous game. It's weird that they didn't fix it. And developers not fixing something that's glaringly obvious very rarely happen, because, like, developers know everything that's wrong with a game way more than anyone else. They don't need to be told that kind of stuff. So there has to be some other thing behind it. But it's like you said, it's very interesting right now because like at least on console, the game, how it's designed, how it plays, how it feels, the story the quality of it pushes past the problems it has. Like I play it and there's a bug or like it's busted for frame rate drops, but that doesn't put me off it. I still want to come back to it and play more and see more of the story and that kind of stuff. So I think like earlier I saw some discussions about like, are we giving Jedi Survivor a pass when other games kind of like are like just raked through the coals because of it? And it's like, yes and no. We're kind of giving it a pass because the quality of the game itself is so high or high enough, and its playability is still high enough that it allows us to kind of diminish or paper over that kind of thing.
Because you see the ambition.
Yeah, on console. On PC, the kind of the issues that it has are so severe that it undermines the core experience.
I mean, I think that it depends on person to person. I feel like there's like I think Blessing playing on console is is liking the game a lot less because of the technical issues.
Interesting.
And I think if they were gone, that he'd be enjoying the game a lot more than he currently is.
And I do think on console it is case by case because I did not run into as many overall tech issues outside of frame rate as some of y'all have. Like I had one crash and that was really about it outside of frame rate, which I also haven't run into again since the Day Zero patch. But again, I think that's just going to be a weird case by case basis of, I don't know how that all works in the back end of like the code downloaded incorrectly or whatever. But I don't know. I don't know how all that stuff works. But it's weird.
It just sucks because it doesn't seem like there's a solution to this because this game had to come out. Like they couldn't have just like kept developing it forever because there's money needs to be made and these things need to eventually ship and there's so many checklists and it's like that's unfortunate because that like who gets the bad end of the stick on that? All of us, and like the to what you're saying about giving it a pass, it's like we're not giving it a pass. We're here on this show talking about how this is a problem.
It is a problem,
And it's like what's the solution though? I think is the bigger question. And again, I feel so bad for the team over at Respawn that like you said, clearly know these are problems.
Yeah.
They don't want this to be the way, but it has to go out. And it's just so unfortunate that, like, that just kind of is what it is. And, like, what's the solution here?
Yeah. Did you make a Mandalorian reference on purpose there?
No, not on purpose. What did I say? Did I say this is the way?
They didn't want this to be the way.
Yeah, there we go. But, yeah, it's really unfortunate to see a team like Respawn specifically that we've seen the last couple of years just absolutely crush. Like, and on a level like we often talk about Insomniac as well. But you see Insomniac's game launches, and they're flawless.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I guess there was some Spider-Man PC stuff, but like even that, I feel like that wasn't Insomniac. That was a port team there.
Yeah. The hope now is that, I mean, like Respawn has indicated they are doing this, but like they stick with it until they clean that stuff up, because I don't know, like it's a game that we're going to end up talking about at the end of the year. Like it's already for a lot of people a game of the year contender. And it would be nice to get there and be like, this is, if we recommend this today, everyone who we recommend it to and picks it up based on our kind of discussion over it will have an amazing, flawless experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I do not think will be the case.
Yeah.
I do not think this game is ever going to play the way that it should. I mean, like
Fallen Order still is a bit rough.
Yeah,
as well.
exactly. So, unfortunate, man. But you know what's not unfortunate? Story number 2, Twisted Metal gets its first trailer. This is a show coming to Peacock starring Anthony Mackie, baby. This story is from Ryan Dinsdale at IGN. We're not going to watch the trailer because it's going to get us in trouble because it's from Universal, and Universal hates when we react to things over here at Kind of Funny. Peacock has released a first-look teaser of the Twisted Metal TV series and revealed that all 10 episodes will premiere on July 27th, 2023. The comedy series, based on PlayStation's classic franchise, stars Anthony Mackie, with the teaser offering a first look at his fun, loving character. We see his pre-driving routine, but instead of checking his mirrors, Mackie loads up a shotgun. What doesn't change, however, is loading up a favorite playlist to dance along to, featuring the hit song Steal My Sunshine, that is about some darker things than you might think. You have to go listen to Old Kind of Funny podcast to find out about that. We then see him take off into the forest amidst raging fires and other general chaos before the title screen flashes up and we see the newly imagined Twisted Metal logo. And then we see a little sweet tooth action in Las Vegas popping out of that ice cream truck. Tam, how excited could you possibly be?
I am excited because it looks both bad and good, which is what I want out of it. Like, it looks goofy as hell. Like, I described it as like the Sweet Tooth reveal looks like a Sweet Tooth cosplayer. which is like that's what I want out of it. It's perfect. Yeah, it's great. Like Anthony Mackie. The one thing is weird about it is Anthony Mackie looks so clean. Like he looks so sharp, and I'm like, I don't believe you've been in this world for a long time at all. He's like pristine, and I'm like, okay, cool, mate.
Yeah, we got the poster for this yesterday, teasing that the trailer was going to drop, and the poster itself it's fucking perfect. It looks so bad. And you just see Anthony Mackie sitting there again, looking like he's not part of the world at all. No. Then you get the Twisted Metal homing missiles like popping above, and I'm like, how is this a real show? How is this actually happening? And how is it happening in 2023?
Yeah, he looks like he's photoshopped into every part of it.
Exactly. And it's like every part of him is photoshopped differently as well. But I just can't believe that. I feel like with every year that passes, Twisted Metal just gets less and less relevant, right?
Yeah.
So for it to be here is just very bizarre to me. But I gotta say, I love Twisted Metal. I've loved Twisted Metal since day one. Twisted Metal Black was legitimately the coolest fucking thing ever. You being a like 11-year-old boy and this video game saying motherfucker. Are you kidding me? Painted Black was playing. Everyone has these really dark stories. It's fucking awesome. And here we are over 15 years later getting a TV show with Anthony Mackie.
What is this tweet from Andy?
And he says, once again, I believe there was a multiversal timeline that collided with ours. And in that timeline, Twisted Metal is the most in-demand IP. The newest title recently crossed 16 million sold on PS5. The Pokemon Go style mobile game has 180 million active users. Now there's a TV show. Twisted Metal is everywhere. Absolutely nailed it, Andy. And yeah, this is not an Andy Photoshop poster. This is the poster that they put out for this.
You know what? As long as they're having fun with it, that's what, like... If they're doing, we want to do Fast and Furious meets Mad Max, and we've got Anthony Mackie and Samoa Joe, and we're just going to have fun for a little bit, and it's going to be goofy, popcorn, action movie flick, more power to you.
More power
or like
to
series. It's the thing that freaks me out is it's a series.
It's a series, and they're dropping all the episodes at once.
Yeah,
that to me, I'm like, oh no, oh no.
So that's gonna be
not
weird.
that I necessarily want 10 weeks of Twisted Metal, but legitimately, I'm excited for this. Like, I'm a fan of this type of dumb shit. And like I said, I have been a fan of Twisted Metal for a long time, and I appreciate its goofiness that it has for the most part. And then once Twisted Metal Black came out, there's like this like edgelord grimdarkness to it that's so cringy that like if they do either of those tones, I think that there's fun to be had.
Yeah.
And looking at this trailer, just like, yeah, fuck it, I'm watching this thing, Tam.
You know what I'm excited for? So you're a TikTok user, right? I know you are because I send you TikToks all the time. So have you seen the one from Avengers where they're all sitting down looking at a TV briefing, and then on the TV, people have spliced in the scene from 8 Mile where B-Rabbit Eminem is like doing the Papa Doc thing.
I've never seen it.
And then all of the Avengers turn to look at Falcon, and he's like,
that's so fucking funny.
So I'm excited to see what scenes from this series they put there instead of the Avengers one.
That's so good.
That TikTok is so good.
Good Lord, man. God, though. Here we go. Twisted Metal. So obviously, I don't think that we have too much faith in this, like just from everything that we've seen. Having said that, the main showrunner is one of the main showrunners from Cobra Kai, which I love a lot.
Yeah.
Our friend Iffy is one of the writers on it. He's funny as hell.
Yeah.
Some of the cast looks fun. Like, I don't think this is going to be Last of Us. I don't think this is going to be Mario, but I think that there's a chance that it could be fun.
Yeah, it'll be, as long as if it gives me one interesting moment in each episode, it's worth it.
Yeah.
Fine,
Yeah.
I feel like also like we're gonna get a lot of more video games stuff now. So expect to see things that don't make sense suddenly having way more pomp and circumstance than you as a gamer know they should have.
Yeah.
Just because like between Sonic, Last of Us, and now Mario, like the floodgates are open. People like in all industries are looking at video games are the thing that we need to adapt now because they're doing gangbusters.
Yeah, man, it's working. So you know what else works? Patreon.com/kindoffunny. We appreciate all your support over there, and because of that support, you get the show ad free. But for everyone else, here's a word from our sponsors. Shout out to Honey for sponsoring this episode. Honey is the easy way to save when shopping on your iPhone or computer. Thanks to Honey, manually searching for coupon codes is a thing of the past, and we all know there's nothing better than the feeling of saving money. Honey's the free shopping tool that scours the internet for promo codes and applies the best one it finds to your cart. Here's how it works. Imagine you're shopping on one of your favorite sites. When you check out, the Honey button appears, and all you have to do is click Apply Coupons. You wait a few seconds as the Honey guide dances. It searches for coupons it can find for the site, and if it finds a working coupon, you will watch the prices drop. We here at Kinda Funny have been using Honey for years, and it has literally saved us thousands on tech, costumes, food, you name it. Honestly, I just love how easy it is to set, forget, and save. Honey doesn't just work on desktops, it also works on your iPhone. You just activate it on Safari on your phone, save on the go. And if you don't already have Honey, you could be straight up missing out. By getting it, you'll be doing yourself a solid and supporting this show. You can get PayPal Honey for free at joinhoney.com/kindafunny. That's joinhoney.com/kindafunny. Shout out to Rocket Money for sponsoring this episode. We all love gobbling up content, and we have an understanding of what subscriptions we use. Or do we? Do you know how much your subscriptions really cost? Most Americans think they spend around $80 a month on subscriptions when the actual total is closer to $200. That's right. You out there. You could be wasting hundreds of dollars each month on subscriptions you don't even know about. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions. It monitors your spending and it helps you lower your bills, all in one place. Rocket Money has saved some of us here at Kinda Funny a ton of money, and it can help you too. Stop throwing away your money. Cancel unwanted subscriptions and manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/kindafunny. That's rocketmoney.com/kindafunny. rocketmoney.com/kindafunny. And we're back with story number 3, an absolute fucking bullshit story. Vice is shutting down Waypoint. This comes from Marie Delisandri at gamesindustry.biz. Vice is shutting down its games publication, Waypoint. The news came via Twitter from senior writer Patrick Klepek. Quote, the team, myself included, have been terminated by Vice, and our final day running the website, the podcast, and streams will come to an end on June 2nd. Waypoint's official Twitter account confirmed the information soon after, saying, quote, Waypoint should have ended a long time. Wait, no. Sorry, that's not what they said. Klepek said, Waypoint should have ended a long time ago. We've always been an extremely weird website. Our podcast sign-off is fuck capitalism, go home after all. But we survived 6 long years. That's a goddamn eternity in media. We tried to hold on as long as we could. Waypoint Plus was a godsend, and to all the fans of Waypoint that showed up on day one, know that your contributions in spirit and money were a huge reason we weren't laid off sooner. You, alongside my talented colleagues now and over the years, made waking up every day a joy. The publication was launched by Vice in 2016 as an evolution of its Vice gaming section, and more recently launched premium subscription offering Waypoint Plus. Multiple editorial staff were laid off at Vice late last year.
Rough.
Continues, man.
Getting hard out here, man.
It's getting harder and harder, and it just sucks that like every week we're getting more of these stories, whether it's the game development side, whether it's the games media side, and to look at games media in particular, and to look at groups like Waypoint that were doing such important, unique work in the space is such a it's just sad, man.
Yeah, it's hard to figure out. Like, I don't know, but I do know what the thing is, but like the scale that it needs, that traditional websites need to operate at, and the money that they need to make for their parent companies feels so unattainable now that this stuff is like, it just doesn't work with simple ad supported things. And even like a a plus service that like a Waypoint had is only getting you some of the way there. It's sad, but like it's starting to feel like we're gonna get less and less like interesting, unique, authoritative, and like kind of organized voices in the same way that Waypoint and like various other publications around games are. Like we always have been, and we're moving more into the idea of person behind camera talking to you, and there is a lot of value in that. I'm one of those people. I do it on Twitch, I do it on YouTube, but also there is something to be said for a kind of team of people that have these kind of like, they have a kind of journalistic or editorial background, like underpinning their work. and what that can provide. I'm not saying that people on YouTube and Twitch can't do it, but there's something to be said for a team of people that can do it and is willing to use their connections within the industry to go out and investigate and put these stories out there, or even cover games in an interesting way beyond the kind of the churn of needing to be there day one YouTube, have some sort of spicy opinion, make your soy face in the thumbnail kind of approach to it. And in doing that stuff, Waypoint was one of the best. Like it was a group of people that loved games, loved talking about games, loved analyzing them, and kind of like presenting them to an audience in a way that is exciting or lets them understand the art and the business of games in a more kind of like nuanced way. And to lose one of those means we're that much closer to losing all of them, which is the sad part of it. But yeah, it sucks, man. Those are some good people, a lot of good people, and I don't know, like, I hope they bounce back in some fashion. Like, I would love to see them do a Patreon, but at the same time, I don't want to present Patreon as the kind of like, oh, just do a Patreon, because that's hard. Like, it's not,
And
as you
it
guys
gets harder
know,
and harder as more and more people are needing to launch Patreons and launch different like group projects or solo projects or whatever it is. Like, like you were saying, like, we're getting to a point that it's like, who's left? Like, I feel like we could probably count on two hands the like big games media outlets out there, and like using big, I think, is even like a weird word at this point, right? Like,
I think like I it's interesting because I started to see more developers tweeting about it, and that's something that's become more prevalent recently. And I've had conversations with developers who are like actually saying it now, where it's like, criticism and like games media websites like that are important to the business and the industry and the medium and the kind of culture of games, and they can, in a lot of ways, I'm not saying this to gas us up or myself up as a member of the media, but like they're important to the kind of like the evolution of games in a lot of ways. Like, you get developers like looking at reviews or discussions around it, and it informs the way they think about business, PR, design, coding, whatever it may be. Like, there's interesting perspectives that can come from this back and forth conversation between the creators of the medium and the people who have spent a lot of time analyzing and dissecting it. And that conversation is like symbiotic. And if you're losing that in a way that is, if you're losing that in a way that makes it accessible to them, it kind of, I think, has a knock-on effect on the industry as a whole, as opposed to just being like, oh, these people who have spent all their lives playing games and writing about them are losing their job. There is a bigger implication that a lot of people who are reading these stories perhaps don't understand. Like, losing a voice, those voices, the Waypoint voices, to me, is a negative on this industry. And it sucks that it is that way, and it sucks that it almost feels inevitable.
100%.
I just want to shout out the Waypoint podcast. It's one of the few podcasts that I would actually try to keep up with as much as I could, because again, there was Rob Zachney, Patrick Klepek, Kato, and Ren together had such a great vibe and brought in so many different perspectives that I wouldn't even know or understand about. And I learned a lot from them, while also, hearing them have plenty of goofs and be silly and all that stuff. And it hurts to see this. And I just want to, give the love out to all of them and the rest of the crew over there, because y'all were fucking killer. And I hope y'all can still find a voice in this industry after this.
Yeah, and I said it before, like, I hope that when Waypoint comes to an end, that they confidently can step away knowing that they did amazing work and they can be proud of it. Like, everything that could be against them was, and in the face of that, and it is for all of publications, in the face of that, they produced some of the most compelling, interesting work around in the industry. So they should be proud.
Yeah. And, every time there's a story, we always have to say, like, your support on Patreon goes such a long way for groups like us, but not just us. Go support MinMax. Go support Easy Allies. Go support people like Daniel Dwyer with No Clip. Like, these are projects that are made by teams of people that are allowed to do this because they are supported by people that want that type of content. So Patreon can be incredibly, incredibly valuable and a great way to support people and help to ensure that there are more than a handful of games media companies left. Story number 4. Sony looks to break records by selling more PlayStation consoles than ever before this year. Dang. This comes from Ryan Dinsdale at IGN. Sony has high hopes for PS5 in the current financial year as it aims to break PlayStation records by selling 25 million units. It sucks that this doesn't translate to games media having more money and being more vibrant, right?
It's a heartbreaking juxtaposition, right? Where you see, oh, the games industry is $1 billion, it's bigger than anything else in the world, and then a corner of it is just like just crumbling under the weight of like. It's just frustrating.
It's hard, man. It's like you need to find that value. It has to be worth it. And there needs to be a vision. There needs to be flexibility. There needs to be the ability to pivot to do what is needed at the time, not just what we're doing and what we're comfortable with and all this. And it's like doing all that is very, 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 very difficult.
Yeah.
And when you're not able to be nimble and make those decisions and there are people telling you things that are against the things that you know you need to do.
Yeah. It's rough.
It's very rough.
But good on Sony for selling 1 trillion PlayStations
1
or
bazillion
whatever.
PlayStations.
Good on those people.
The company briefly mentioned its goals for next year during its latest earnings report, where it revealed the PS5 had now sold more than 38 million units, thanks to its best year on the market so far. The 19.1 million units it sold in the financial year 22-23 weren't enough, though. Quote, we aim to continuously accelerate penetration of PS5 and aim for PS5s. I'm such a fucking immature baby. I'm sorry, y'all. And aim for PS5 selling units for the current fiscal year to be 25 million units, the highest ever for any PlayStation console in history. It would certainly be an impressive figure because, as mentioned, no PlayStation console in history sold as many units in a single year, not even the PlayStation 2, which is the best-selling console of all time with 159 million units sold. The PS5 certainly trending towards an incredibly strong year as its sales figures grew significantly as component shortages that plagued the video game industry waned. Sony recorded 7.1 million and 6.3 million sales in quarters 3 and 4, compared to the 2.4 and 3.3 recorded in the 2 before that. Wowzers, Tam.
Yes.
These are insane numbers, and we can only expect them to keep going up. When we look at this, we're talking year over year doubling from the early days of the PS5, which makes sense with everything they're talking about in terms of the shortages and in terms of the state of the world, but also in terms of the library and offering of exclusives on PS5. We're now at a point that we're deep enough into this life cycle that getting to PS5, you're getting a handful of exclusive experiences that you know are like the top tier stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And I think what's really fascinating and interesting is like it's hitting those numbers having also gone through COVID and the availability shortages. Like most people were under the impression like this generation is going to be like much harder to move units than any other because the worst possible scenarios for these hardware manufacturers have happened. Like people aren't out and about anymore; they're at home, and also like they're hardly available. Obviously, like being home also means like you want to buy this stuff, but like the availability was the problem on that end. It was like you can't get this thing, and we were like, okay, cool. It's going to limit how much surely they won't be as huge selling as they were, but it isn't. Like it definitely is, and it's like surprising. It feels like, you know, it's just been like building up, and now that people can buy it and kind of access it easily, they're just like buying it in droves. The interesting thing also on top of that is like we still haven't had a hardware revision, and that is traditionally always been a kind of a booster to sales.
Yeah.
And it like rejuvenates the entire platform, and Sony always does a hardware revision. There is highly likely we'll get a PS5 that is revised hardware-wise, a Slim or something like that. And so when they say like, oh, we want to go higher next year, there's a decent chance of that happening.
Oh yeah.
Very, very high.
I mean,
so,
I think it's a guarantee. Like unless some crazy shit happens again.
Yeah.
But I think that with where we're at right now, like having Ragnarok just come out and being as good as it was, riding the train of like now PlayStation putting out these premium DLC projects that we saw with like Ghost of Tsushima Legends and now Horizon Burning Shores, that coming out. PSVR 2 being another thing that people, if they want, they can interact with the PS5 in a different way. And then this pipeline we have right here of all the third-party games we know about, the exclusivity of Final Fantasy 16 in June, Spider-Man fucking 2 coming later this year.
Wolverine probably next year.
Exactly. It's like that. And whatever we get at the showcase in May, that's really going to paint a picture about like, hey, if y'all don't have PS5, Here's why you need one now.
Yeah, also like Final Fantasy, and the reason, like, and it also like it feeds into the overall machine that Sony has now, and that's why we get things like remakes, like the Last of Us remake. We were all like, why are they doing that? It's like and now you see, oh, it's because the HBO show is out.
Biggest
And
thing in
like
the world.
it's huge, so when anyone with an interest in it goes, how do I play these games that it's based on? They don't have to buy an old console, find an old version of a game. They just buy the latest console, buy the latest version of the game, and they're happy. That's it. So like smartly, Sony has almost like seen ahead long enough to know that, oh, we need to make these moves to make sure by the time we get there and this project is available, we'll have a kind of like an ecosystem where we'll be making more console sales and getting more money. And I think that's going to continue to be the case. Like, come next year when, you know, another Spider-Man game is out, like, you best believe there's going to be like wild tie-ins and stuff like that make people want to go, oh, okay, I'm going to buy this new console. It's worth it.
So a little jump off conversation point here.
Mm-hmm.
PlayStation, the rest of this year.
Yeah.
We know that the things we just talked about, the Final Fantasy 16 deals and things like that. Then we have Spider-Man. Do you think we get another big Sony title this year?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah,
What do you think?
So. I'm not sure what it would be, but I am just thinking about like, actually, maybe not, because like there's the way I was thinking is like there's a lot of third-party games that are still yet to be announced that will probably carry a lot of the weight for the rest of the year, and Sony has enough in its kind of current landscape of games that it could just like kind of fresh a lot of that stuff in marketing and PR and that kind of stuff, and do pretty well based off it. Like Horizon 2 still needs a kind of, it can get a lift because, you know, it came and went and the DLC helps, but like complete edition later on down the year, cool, that's it.
Something like that.
Bundle Last of Us 1 and 2 together to be like HBO edition or something like that. I feel like they can get away with that pretty easily. But I think that also Sony is kind of on the front foot in a lot of ways. It feels like they're in attack mode. They're like pressing an advantage. I'm not pitting one console against another. I'm just talking about like them,
their own strategy.
Yeah, them versus themselves. Like they feel like they're on the front foot. So let's really drive that success home. And I think that you can do that by having one like last trump card for the rest of the year, and then be like, this game is coming this year, and it's going to be huge. And then you finish that year strong and go into the next year with that kind of good momentum, and it carries you through that year as well. Fair way, yeah.
That's where I'm at too.
Maybe one more.
Yeah, I think Spider-Man's the big one. I can see a small thing like a Horizon completion, something like that, like something small, sure. But like I think Spider-Man will be the one and only major big PlayStation Studios release this year. I don't think that that's bad at all. There's already so much to play, and there's so many third-party games coming out that are going to be incredible. But I think that positions them for next year to be wild. But what's a little interesting about that, though, is the May showcase going to focus on mainly games that are 2024? Possibly, and I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing when Spider-Man 2 is kind of the focal point. You got to imagine, at least.
I think the other thing is I feel like what will happen at the showcase is we'll see more third-party games that are aligning themselves closer with PlayStation 5. So a lot of the, not exclusives, but like, hey, where, this is the lead platform. It's going to have XYZ on here compared to other platforms. And I think that will do a lot in the hearts and minds, kind of like, and also the optics of the consoles and which one to go for towards the end of the year. So I think they're going to finish strong. Whether it's a brand new title, not 100% sure on it. But if I was in their position and they had something like cooking that could go in that time, I would push for it.
I think that there's some potentially really cool things that I don't think are like the biggest megaton stuff, but like Astrobot.
Yeah.
What's Team Asobi been up to? And I feel like that could be something they're like, oh yeah, there's a game and it's coming out in November. Yeah.
I mean, like that kind of small, or even like another remake. Like I feel that it's not it doesn't have to be a PlayStation Studios style thing. It could be if they put out another remake on the quality level of Demon Souls remake with a Bluepoint or something like that. That could be massive. Like if they put out a massive, like, oh, we've done a full, I'm just gonna spitball, Twisted Metal remake.
Yep.
Like it's
like, dude, we didn't even talk about Twisted Metal, like the game with that story. I wanted to ask, like, we've heard rumors, we've seen a lot of like rumblings about this. Do you think we're getting Twisted Metal, and if so, when?
Do I think we're gonna get Twisted Metal? I want to say yes, just because it is absolutely wild. Like Andy pointed out, that we are in a world where Twisted Metal exists just as a TV show on its own, off the strength of just an old IP. So that makes me think, oh, they're going to put something out. But I'm not. If I was a betting man, I'd say probably not. But I don't know if that kind of like, I think it'll be the other way around, where if that show pops off, we get another game, as opposed to like the game is coming and now the show is kind of a big deal.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to wait and see if our metal will be twisted. Story number 5, Microsoft signs another 10-year deal to bring Xbox games to more cloud gaming platforms. It continues, everyone. This comes from Ryan Dinsdale at IGN. Microsoft signed another 10-year deal to bring more cloud gaming platforms, despite the Competition and Markets Authority blocking its Activision Blizzard deal earlier this week. As reported by Eurogamer, Microsoft Vice Chair and President said on Twitter that the company has signed a deal with Noire to bring Xbox-built games to its platform alongside Activision Blizzard titles after the acquisition closes. Smith showed no sign that Microsoft is deterred by the CMA's decision to block the Activision Blizzard deal from going through, despite it coming as a result of cloud gaming concerns. Microsoft is appealing the decision, of course, but this will be a long and likely challenging process. Microsoft and European cloud gaming platform Noire have signed a 10-year deal agreement to stream PC games built by Xbox on its platform, as well as Activision Blizzard titles after the acquisition closes. While it's still early for the emerging cloud segment in gaming, this new partnership, combined with our other recent commitments, will make more popular games available on more cloud gaming streaming services than they are today. Microsoft signed a similar deal to bring Xbox games, again, including Activision Blizzard titles like Call of Duty, if the deal goes through, to Nintendo platforms in February, alleviating some of CMA's concern that it would make these games exclusive to its own platforms. It also signed deals with other cloud gaming platforms, including Ubisoft, Boosteroid, and more.
I'm very excited.
What silly fucking shit is this? I love them. They're just like, we're on fucking Quibi. We're on fucking, like, get on the shit.
See us on Blue Sky, or whatever that is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think, like, as part of a strategy, this makes a lot of sense. As part of a kind of, like, hearts and minds, we're not evil. We're just trying to buy one of the biggest video game publishers in the world and become the biggest video game publisher and developer in the world. And the whole, like, one of the key strategies that they have been, or the concerns that some people, especially Sony, have had is, like, that will put them in a market position where they could deny, our audience a major game, like a series like Call of Duty, or put some sort of, like, restrictions on it in the way that they can access it. So Microsoft's whole thing has been trying to convince people that they're not going to do that. They're trying to convince people, like, they're going to still benevolently make Call of Duty available to everyone. There's some very quietly whispered, like, for 10 years or like something like that. And the way you do that is, like, they talked about, we're partnering with Nintendo, we're still chatting to Nintendo. And, like, what is more convincing than we have signed a cloud gaming deal, so we're going to bring Call of Duty to anyone with a mobile phone. Like, that is, like, I feel like a court looks at it and goes, like, okay, there's no intention here to lock it off.
Yeah.
Obviously, like, it's a sneaky tactic.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but, like, if it works, it works. But yeah, I don't know. Like, it's interesting because I still don't care about playing big games on my phone. Like, I don't know if anyone ever will be, but more power to you if you are.
I think there's a use case for it, and I think that there's a ton of people that if the options were they don't have a console or they play it that way, I think that makes sense, and especially when you think of kids, right?
Yeah. I was talking to a grub about this morning, and I think the next evolutionary step, or the thing that will really, like, make it click into place, make that kind of bridge between us, is when someone figures out how to get a cloud game onto a mobile phone, but then take that and kind of stream it out to a large TV that you have. And so you can switch it, basically.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be the next thing where...
And we're so close.
Yeah, we're almost there, yeah. And, like, all we got to do is, like, make sure latency's better and, like, Bluetooth enabled TVs and that kind of stuff, so you can connect a controller or whatever. But I feel like that's the thing where this thing, cloud, makes your phone become the console that others have. Because you can sit down and play on a big screen TV and have the kind of, like, cinematic experience that you want, but you don't have a console to do it. And that's what I think that will be what propels cloud gaming forward. But yeah, who knows when we'll get there.
Who knows? Story number 6. Vampire Survivors is getting adapted to TV, Tam.
Hell yeah.
This comes from Denise Petke at Deadline.
Hell yeah.
The viral gaming sensation Vampire Survivors is in the works for TV. Story Kitchen is partnering with the game's developer, Ponkel founder Luca Galante, to adapt the comedic gothic horror video game into a premium animated television series. In the game, described as Vox Machina meets Castlevania, players control an automatically attacking character while fighting against continuous waves of monsters, with the goal being to survive the onslaught for as long as possible. The game is set in 2021 in rural Italy. There lived an evil person named Visconti Draculo, whose many evil magics created a bad world filled with famine and suffering. It's now up to the members of the Belpasse family to end his reign of terror and return good food to the table, reads the official description.
Why does this feel like a What We Do in the Shadows like type of spin-off vibe, which
Yeah.
I'm down for?
A search is underway for a writer. The project will be shopped to animated TV network buyers. Something tells me this one's not going to see the light of day.
I'm the opposite way.
Oh, yeah?
I think that I feel like it's, firstly, I've played Vampire Survivors for countless hours. I could never tell you that was what the game was about. I swear they made that up for this press release. I know there is a story because Stephanie Sterling works on it and writes for stuff like that. But you could not get that information out of me. Like, no way, I did not know that. But yeah, I feel like this is like it's got enough breathing room and room for expression and creativity that a studio could come along and be like, oh, we can make a fun, like, comedic vampire animated series. Obviously, it will have no vampires in it because Vampire Survivors doesn't have any vampires in it. But like, I feel like I feel more confident in it. I'm not saying it will happen, but I feel more confident in it materializing than if it was like if they were trying to do Mario. Like, if it was Mario, I'd be like, no, it's not happening. Because there's too much like uphill struggles there. Whereas because there's less hurdles to clear with Vampire Survivors, it's more likely to me.
Yeah. We'll see, man. There's a lot of money out there, and we see a lot of the streamer platforms like just throwing stuff around. And there's an IP here. There's an interest in Vampire Survivors. Is it enough to sell an animated show to Netflix? I'm going to lean towards no right now, but we'll see. We'll see. Story number 7 to close out the news of the day. LEGO has announced 4 Donkey Kong expansion sets. This comes from Tom Ivan at VGC. The LEGO Group has announced plans to release 4 Donkey Kong expansion sets this summer. And Donkey is a big old guy. The feature DK, Cranky Kong, Diddy Kong, Funky Kong, and Dixie Kong. The sets and new characters can also interact with the existing LEGO Mario, Luigi, and Peach figures. Donkey Kong's Treehouse expansion exists. Donkey Kong's Minecart Ride expansion. There's a 174-piece Dixie Kong's Jungle Jam expansion, and Rambi the Rhino expansion. So, pretty cool.
Square Donkey Kong is a jump scare I was not ready for today. That is impressive. A Funky Kong in Lego form, I might have to partake.
Sign me up, man. It's really weird with these Nintendo Lego crossovers where it's like kind of a dream come true for me where I'm like, oh my God, this is perfect. But then I don't like that they are like, I just want them to be little Lego figures. You know what I mean? I don't want these like, they're big and it's like, it feels like Mega Bloks knockoff shit to me. And I get that I'm just being a boomer, like fucking talking my shit about like, I want my toys to be more like my toys. But it's true, I do. You know what I'm talking about, Mike?
I like
My toys, baby.
The thing is, like, and again, like, who's buying this to play with it?
I mean, I'm going to assume children, Tam.
Yeah, but like, do children know Donkey Kong?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
They do. I just watched this movie called The Super Mario Brothers movie.
But
these little kids are fucking losing their shit.
Do they know?
Do they know like Funky Kong and Rambi and like that's where I'm like, I don't know about that.
I'll ask Alyssa. She knows. You know.
But like the point I was gonna make is like this is a lot of people are probably buying this stuff to display and be like, I've got this thing, and like as a display piece, I think these are pretty ugly. Like I like the Diddy in the minecart. Like that is something I would buy and put like so people can look at. I'm not putting Funky Kong anywhere where anyone can see it. That is like closing doors for me. Like women are leaving my apartment when they see that.
I think we're a little off on this, and because the complaints I have with it are I want the more traditional Legos. I want the more like display thing. Whereas I do think that there's a fun functionality to the Nintendo design Legos where I do think kids are playing with these. Like I think that they're interacting with them in a more actual like playing with the sets way, as opposed to Legos traditionally are more like you build it once, then you break it, and those parts
Yeah.
get added to the whole. But yeah, Sonic has been doing similar things as well. But yeah, like the Mario, there's a question block, and then it opens up, and like each of the different laps is a different like diorama of one of the Mario 64 levels.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is a fucking dream come true.
It's awesome.
Except it's not. Like, I just want the dioramas. Like, I just want like it to be like cool, super nice little mini versions of the Mario 64 levels. I don't need it to be in this weird like question block thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. But again, I'm happy they're doing them. I just wish that they were a little more traditional.
Yeah.
Tam, if Nintendo were to ever release more traditional Legos, I'd be very happy. But that seems like it might be so far away. If I want to know what's coming to Mom and Grop shops today, where would I look?
The official list of upcoming software across each and every platform, as listed by the Kind of Funny Games Daily hosts each and every weekday.
Yeah.
Out today, we got a whole bunch of stuff. Monster again. Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak on everything. Star Wars Jedi Survivor on PS5, Series X and S, and PC. Minabo, A Walk Through Life on everything. Corn Sweeper on mobile. Ew. The Companion on Switch. Dragonoka on PS4. Jimotambe on everything. Nuclear Blaze on PS4. And Welcome to Goodland on PC. New dates for you. Grindstone gets an Xbox version on May 3rd. That's pretty cool.
Banger.
The game is awesome. Stuntfest Rivals got renamed to Jected Rivals. Jected. Jected.
Is that a word? I don't think that's.
I don't know.
I
I
feel
don't
like they're
like
trying
that.
to do a play like on rejected, but then
I guess
ejected, but
Ejected?
Oh, ejected.
Yeah.
Ejected. I got it.
Weird.
Front Mission 2 remakes coming June 12th for Switch. Let's go to your
Was that the game that Austin was talking about yesterday that he was really looking forward to? Was Front Mission? Or was that a different conversation we had earlier in the week? Let me know.
Kindoffunny.com/you're wrong. There's only one thing. Bander SN writes in to say Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor are both Unreal 4 games. Good to know. Very, very good to know. Thank you guys for hanging out with us this beautiful week on Kind of Funny Games Daily. Thanks for celebrating Greg's birthday with us. Have a great day playing Jedi Survivor. If you are still waiting to get Jedi Survivor, I still ask you to get hyped by watching Barrett Courtney's amazing video essay breakdown of why Jedi Fallen Order is so special to him. It's a great refresher on the first game, and it's a great thing to get hyped getting into Survivor that I'm sure many people are going to be playing this weekend. Tam, I'm thrilled to have you back here. I'm excited that next week we're getting. Can we talk about?
Yeah,
stuff?
unless something goes very wrong, we'll see.
What's happening?
I'll be there. I'll be on Kind of Funny podcast, Kev.
A Tam Kind of Funny podcast.
First time.
Your first time. That's exciting.
Debut.
And then Lucy is going to be on Games Daily. Which
Games
is
Daily.
exciting.
We're going to be talking about some of the things that Gamespot is up to next week. We're excited. We've got some stuff that we're going to reveal here. So it'll be fun, yeah.
Yeah, really cool stuff. A lot of fun to be had there. Remember
Rebranding to GameStop.
Finally. I won't say who, but someone in our company that works at GameSpot said GameStop the other day, and I was like,
Just tell me it was
10
Jordan.
years ISO cubes
Just say
for
it was
you.
Jordan Ramey.
It wasn't. It wasn't. It was someone senior. Like, I was like, jail for you.
straight to jail. Remember, we're trying something new with YouTube Super Chats on Games Daily. Right after this, during the live stream, in just a moment, SnowBikeMike's going to come join us and read your Super Chats about all the stories we covered in the show. If you want us to get a little deeper, if there's any video game questions you want to ask us, or just anything you want to ask Tam, he has secrets in there. If you want to ask him for some secrets, you got a Super Chat. He'll spill the beans. Okay.
I'll tell you.
Maybe, no promises. But anyways, this has been Kind of Funny Games Daily, each and every weekday live right here on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames and twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. We run you through all the video game news you need to know. We love you. We appreciate you. And until next time, Game Daily.
Good shake. That was a strong
That was
shake.
strong. That was
Fuck!
He keeps getting got,
Barrett's
Mike.
got my number.
Oh, so here we are. We're chilling. We're about to answer some questions. The chat's popping off. Everyone seems happy on this beautiful Friday. This has been a weird week for me, boys.
Yeah.
Every day felt like a different day.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, oh, this felt like a Friday, or this feels like a Monday. every day felt like on Monday felt like a Wednesday, on Wednesday felt like a Friday. It's
Yeah.
like, here I am, and I'm like, I don't even know what's going on.
I was just thinking that this morning, actually. I
Today's
was
got
like,
a Tuesday feel to it.
yes, I was thinking. I was like, I had to double check it was Friday. But yeah, Warriors game today.
Together soon.
Yeah.
Also, you got chopped into next week as
I
well.
did.
Don't forget about
So did
that.
you.
Ooh, I'm still feeling it. Tim.
Yeah.
Still feeling
How
it.
are you feeling?
I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
You know, the tightness in the chest went all last night, but now I'm feeling much better.
Yeah.
No big hand mark on my chest either.
Yeah,
How
me
about you?
neither. No, which I'm
Next time we see him,
by.
I'm tell him to go harder.
I feel like he went in easy on some of
Yeah.
us, myself for
I'm
sure.
gonna tell him to go harder is right.
But I appreciate that he didn't go easy on Greg Miller.
I
Like he
appreciate that,
really
right.
went
Because
all
like
out there.
Greg is like angling for a actual like wrestling match.
Oh, yeah.
So he needed to take that.
Gotta
Yeah.
take one. Is
Yeah,
right.
he got to take one and like no sell it. He didn't no sell it, but
Yeah.
it was dramatic.
It was
but, like,
very
I could see
dramatic.
that in the ring, and people were being like, "Oh,
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Shout out to my guy Tim. What up, Tim? How are you,
well,
man?
I'm
Happy
doing
Friday,
good,
bro,
man.
bro.
Happy Friday to
It's
you
nice to
too.
see you always, man. I love your T-shirt.
Thank
I
you.
see you flexing on him with the Demolition Man Taco Bell.
This is the 25th anniversary Demolition Man Taco Bell T-shirt.
Heck yeah, man.
It's good.
Let's tell you
It's
about the time
wonderful.
when me and Tam watched a great movie. He took me through.
No, but I know you did it.
Oh
Yeah,
my
we
God,
watched
I've never
bro.
seen it.
Yeah. Oh, what?
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah,
I
please,
know.
can you rewatch it?
Oh,
together?
100%.
If you're watching
It's
it,
so good.
you're gonna love it.
Yeah.
I know you're gonna love it.
Oh, that's
I'm like,
so exciting.
I'm like convinced you're gonna.
Dude,
love
I
it.
still haven't seen RRR, which everyone's telling me I'm gonna
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
love.
Yes,
Yeah.
you will love that as well.
Have you seen it?
I have not seen that
Okay.
one. I know that one was big for quite some time. Just
Yeah, it's
months
on
ago,
Netflix.
really, it was so
It's
hot
on
right now.
Netflix, and it is like, imagine in the scene, the most craziest thing that could happen. That movie does one step beyond that.
I love
and it's just like
It's amazing.
insane. It's insane.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm really excited because we're back again with another Kind of Funny Games Daily post show where I join your two incredible show hosts. We dive a little bit deeper into today's topics, or we just talk about video games with each and every one of you. Of course, we ask for your support and to get involved, whether you're watching over on YouTube and or Twitch. Don't forget that you can super chat on YouTube with your questions, comments, and concerns. And of course, if you're watching over on Twitch, you can resubscribe with that sweet, sweet message. And I'll read it out to these guys just like our first message right now. Of course, Jace the Drone writes in and says, Tam, when did you know you had superior beard genetics? Also, AC6 gameplay reaction, question mark. Tam, when did you know you had it with the beard?
I think very early in my life when I was like, why am I hairier than literally everyone else? Like, you know what? You can have a rough time as a kid. There's a lot of things that make childhood difficult, teenage years difficult. One of the worst is being hairy. Kids do not let you forget that.
Oh, no.
They do not.
Oh, no.
So I was like, when I was younger, I was like just more hairier than everyone else.
Yeah.
But then as you get into like teen adult years, it's just like, it's more
Then you
normal.
become-
You're like,
yeah,
oh shit,
yeah.
he's just got a beard.
Yeah, when was that age where it was like, it went from, oh, they're teasing me to like, oh, now they're like, oh, damn, I respect his beard game.
So I think it was actually when I was around 19 or 20, 19, because I was like dangerously overweight up until that time. So I had a beard, but it didn't look good because my face was way rounder. And like then that is when I was like, I got to sort myself out. So then I started working out like crazy and then lost a bunch of weight. And then when I grew a beard, it looked like a good beard. It's the longer it gets, like the scragglier it gets. But like that is when I was like, okay, this makes sense now.
Yeah.
But when I was bigger, I would like trim it down and shave it because it looked like it would like make me look sweaty. So I was just like, okay, I can't be like.
Yeah, it's so interesting as a young adult, a young boy, right? It goes from you don't want to be hairy to, oh man, I wish I had that hair,
Yep.
right? Like it's so you're at like the 18 to 22, and people just wish they had the full beard. They just got the patches. is
Someone in the chat was like, I want to see Fat Tam. You can just Google it.
right. Oh, Google just
Type-
fat Tam.
Google Fat
unfortunately, you could just type in my name, and unfortunately, it's there on the Google Images somewhere. I
Okay,
think
well there
so.
you go. We're gonna Tam's gonna
Let's
bring
see if
that
I
up
can
for
find
me
it.
and Tim right now. But Tim, AC6. We got a lot of, there's a lot of letters thrown at me on the
There
daily.
is.
You know,
Armored
I mean,
Core
TTK.
6.
Oh,
Armored Core 6.
Yeah.
Ruins of
See,
Rubicon.
When I think AC, it's
Assassin's
Assassin's Creed.
Creed.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Bear. Like
I get
those are the people that earn that
Assassin's
title.
Creed owns AC.
Yes,
okay?
exactly. You
We
got to
gotta
remember who
type
owns the
out
title,
Armored Core.
people. Is right.
Yeah.
So Armored Core 6, gameplay reaction question mark. Tim, is that something you have on your docket? Oh, Fat Tam. Okay.
Yeah,
You got
I
it in
am
the lab, Tam.
surprised.
I literally typed in Tamoor saying fat. And
There you go. Okay.
Wow, that
the
does
internet.
not look like you at
there's
all.
me. Yeah. There's me.
I'm way more interested in his thoughts on this than mine
Okay.
because I'm not an
Yeah.
Armored Core person. I'm not a From Software person, but I do just want to say that trailer was fucking sick as hell.
Gave me a lot of Metal Gear Solid vibes, Tam. Like when
Yes.
he was like, "Oh, the bastard's hound showed up," and I was like, "Oh,
Oh,
shit.
shit.
This is some real Metal Gear vibes right now, y'all."
Yeah, it's an interesting game, that one, because it comes at a time where From Software is more popular, more successful than ever, but it's also more defined than ever.
Yes.
Like it's From Software for doing a certain kind of thing, and every new thing is different from the last, but it always kind of like gravitates towards that Soulsborne formula. I think like this is a game that we expect to be quite like that formula, but it won't be, and I think that's intentional because From Software needs to start or wants to start diversifying what they're known for, right? They can't keep making Souls games over. It's difficult, and especially when it's as big as Elden Ring now. Like Elden Ring set a bar. Like they can go back to something smaller like a Dark Souls, but the expectation is going to be like the next thing will be as big as Elden Ring, right? And that's tricky to do. Like those games take a long time, so you need other things that can be made quicker and are a little less intensive to make, or like are different, present something different. But I think for the most part, like Armored Core 6 it looks really cool, and I think that if it's successful, it will also be successful for From Software in that it allows them to diversify their bonds in the Wu-Tang parlance. But like, so then that's when they can then confidently say, "Hey, we make Soulsborne games, but we also make other action games." And then they can move into other genres as well to be like, oh, we're going to make an RPG that is like, I don't know, turn-based or something like that. And it's not going to be like, oh my God, they're making something out of the ordinary, because they can go, no, we made Armored Core. We know what we're doing here.
Yeah, that's really well said. For me, it's like, yeah, I expect Soulsborne combat, right? Like I see this, and of course, Armored Core had its own franchise before this, right? But like as a Elden Ring fan or an early Souls fan, it's like I see that and it's like, oh, it's just going to be Elden Ring with mechs, right?
Yeah.
That's what I assume. But you're so right. Watching that trailer, it's like, oh, that doesn't seem like the combat that I'm going to get here. It's
No.
going to be a different vibe.
But what's interesting there is like I have not played Armored Core. Have you played the previous ones?
A while ago, a long time ago, yeah.
Like looking at gameplay of like actual gameplay of Armored Core 5, like this definitely does not look like Souls
No, it's
type
very
gameplay
weird,
at all.
yeah.
But it also does not look like what we're kind of getting teased with here
Yeah,
in Armored
so-
Core 6, where this does look like there's a bit more of an emphasis on big boss fights.
Yes, and the interesting thing is, like, for all that we just said, there's a lot of it that is very similar to a Souls game.
Okay.
Like, there's like they're talking about fire fading and like scorching the earth, and there's like imagery and that kind of stuff that is very Souls-like. Like, if you didn't show any of the gameplay or the robots and just had the kind of like the narrative set up,
Oh, yeah,
I would
totally.
say that's a Souls game.
yeah, when he was
Yeah.
like the ember burns or
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
right at the
exactly.
beginning, you're like, oh, yeah, okay, that's
this
the
is
vibe, is right. Yeah.
So like, I feel like in atmosphere and in kind of like maybe story as well, it might be closer to something that we expect from them, where it's like quite dark and gritty and like realistic and you know, the price of war in these Armored Cores and that kind of stuff. But in terms of gameplay, it will be quite different.
Yeah. It looks cool as hell.
It looks cool.
Yeah, it looked really cool. Can't wait. And amazing. August, right? Right
Yeah,
around the corner.
man.
Like, that's a
Soon, yeah.
wild one
From
here.
Software. Wow.
Very
nice.
excited.
I think one of the other news stories that we didn't talk about was they said that they want to make more games quicker. So they want to release more games. And this is a big part of that. Like, they'll start pumping out games, hopefully good games.
I mean, they're going to have a big chunk here from, of course, Elden Ring to now Armored Core. Then you'll get hit with Elden Ring DLC, you assume, right around
Yeah.
the corner after that. So, like, you're going to have about a 2-year period here where it's just takeover time from this team once again. And
Yeah.
we'll see where they go with that. Is right, Tam. Let's keep it going. We got some more super chats coming in. Count Chris writes in and says, Tam, in honor of that fantastic T-shirt, what is your go-to Taco Bell order? Tam, are you a Taco Bell guy?
I am. I like Taco Bell. I haven't been to Taco Bell a lot. So I used to live near a Taco Bell.
Okay.
And we'd go. I went there maybe like 3 times while I was there. So what I really respect about Taco Bell is they have a huge menu. They also have an equally huge like vegetarian menu, and like because I can't eat the meat out of Taco Bell, so I went there thinking I'll eat a raw tortilla and that'll be it. And then I went in there and went to the vegetarian section. It was like pretty much every item has a vegetarian equivalent. So like I love pretty much anything on that menu. Like I enjoy it. It's good fast food. Yeah, I don't have a go-to order, but yeah, I like everything there.
What do you got, Tim?
Are
What's
we
your
getting
go-to?
Taco Bell today, doggy?
Dude, man, can we take a quick drive down to Pacifica and go on the beach
let's get
Taco
a little
Bell?
fancy
I
one? Maybe.
freaking love that
maybe.
Taco Bell. Have you been to that one, Tam?
No,
The Taco Bell Cantina?
no, I haven't yet.
Tam, write that down from one of your summer
Yeah, yeah.
excursions. Easy little drive down. What's your go-to, Tim?
You know, I gotta be real, man. I don't have a go-to. Like,
What?
especially in my modern age and time, I feel like my go-to is just Taco Bell in my life at this point is she's like, hey, I'm gonna cook tonight. We're gonna have a great dinner. Like, here's the plan. We're gonna watch this. We're gonna do this. And then hours pass. And she's like, I'm not cooking tonight. We're gonna order something. I'm hungry. It's 11 p.m. What are we doing? We pull up the DoorDash and order the Taco Bell.
You live Moss.
And we live lost, baby. And that's what I do. I just kind of go through and like, you know, whatever, like the popular items or whatever. I just start +1, +1, +1,
Okay,
+1.
okay.
I try to get the total to about like $30 worth of Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Oh,
and-
wow.
which is a fucking lot, right?
That's a lot, yeah.
And then it just comes and then there's just a big bag. And then I call Cool Greg and then I call Gia and I'm like, hey, everybody, it's fucking time to feast.
Love
and we
that.
just grab a bunch of shit. So yeah, that's my Taco Bell strategy.
Cheesy-
So what's my order? $30 worth.
Love that.
What's yours?
Cheesy Gordita Crunch.
Okay.
Doritos Locos Tacos.
Okay.
You get the nacho cheese
Yeah,
on
yeah.
that. Oh, so good. And then, of course, that chicken quesadilla is bumping. They got some sort of spice going on in that thing, Tam. Oh,
Damn.
my God, you know. So those are my go-tos always for sure.
Strong.
Let's keep it going. Let's have some fun right now. We have one from Hyder 700 says, okay, crew, Filoni comes to you and says, help me make a Star Killer cannon. How are you doing it?
Interesting.
Starkiller Force Unleashed guy, right?
Yes, he's
Oh,
Vader's
interesting.
secret
Okay.
apprentice.
Yeah, Secret Apprentice.
You put him into the third Jedi game
Yeah.
if they are planning on.
Yeah,
doing a
him
third one.
going up against Cal, that
Yeah.
would be interesting.
And that would be
Yeah.
a cool way to bring him back because he was originally from a video game.
Yeah.
And to bring him, like, reintroduce him into another video game, I think would be super.
That would be
fucking cool.
really interesting.
I like that a lot.
I don't know, like, how you work in the Secret Apprentice stuff, especially like now that like the current canon has like all the Inquisitors and things
Yeah.
like that. But I think you could still do something there with that angle. I would love to see those two characters
Can
go
you?
head to head.
I'd love it to retcon the kind of like Force Unleashed to make him like a dark side Jedi, and like it in the same way that this is going to be a reference that is probably not the best, but like, you know, that how the Arkham Knight was like, he's just constantly, you don't know who he is, but he clearly knows a lot about you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the kind of like role he serves in the next Jedi game, where he's like constantly around in the same way like the First Sister or whatever they were called is in the previous game. And then eventually you get to the reveal where he takes, or like you in a battle, his mask cracks and you see that it's him underneath. That would be pretty sick.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the game is like trying to redeem him back using,
that'd be fucking cool.
using what you learned in this game.
Yeah, I like that.
I like that. I mean, I liked the Force Unleashed games way back in the day, so you know, I'm a Star Wars jabroni sometimes, so I'm into it. I'm into
yeah.
it. Let's keep it going. We have some fun ones coming in. Sid Harth writes in and says, Bot Survivor, looking at scores, had 5+ crashes, 1 save corruption on PC, then bought it again on PS5 today. HDR is broken and frame rate drops. Question, didn't the industry learn anything from Cyberpunk? Performance scores should be separate? Tim, what's up with that? Did they not take the hint from Cyberpunk? And also, what's up with performance scores when it comes into reviews?
Performance scores. This is interesting. It's because like we don't delineate between. To have performance scores would mean we'd have to have like graphics are like this, art is like, or visuals like story, and we don't really
was
review
more
games
old
like that.
school
Anyway. Yeah,
way
that's a
of
very
doing it.
old school. It's a review format for product reviews. Like that's how you review a TV. That's how you review, and these are not TV. Like how we approach games is no longer a product that we're gonna. We treat them as like an art piece or a piece of entertainment, and you review the whole, but you also need to reflect on it. I think from our perspective, my perspective, we have a paragraph in our review that is like, this shit is whack as fuck. Like, be careful. But I think like it's just a matter of like, is that information disseminated far enough? And it can be buried under a lot of like positive reviews and that kind of stuff. And yeah, I don't know what, in terms of industry learning, like it feels easy to sit on the outside and go like, why didn't you figure this stuff out? But there's so many different variables at play that it's easier said than done. There's development milestones and timelines and marketing, and it's billions and millions of dollars are riding on this stuff. So like when a game slips, that is the knock-on effect of that on shares, stock, and like it's hard to kind of like factor that in when you just want a good game. So like, and because we're in a situation now where we can, developers can patch things and submit very quickly kind of updates that are disseminated to everyone. It's almost built in now that we'll get to this point and the game won't be where we want, but then we've got this much time on top to fix it. Or they even factor in it's going to be like this for at launch, and then we have to spend this much time to fix it, and they factor that stuff in. Too much of the industry would need to change for this to be completely eliminated. It'd have to involve like giving developers way more time to make games, which means announcing them way later, or like just not announcing them for a really long time. Development cycles need to grow, and teams and that kind of stuff. But I understand the frustration, but the solve is not easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was very well said by Tim. Anything to add to that one, Tim?
Not really. I'm just the same thing I've been saying kind of all week when it comes to reviews for various different things. But context matters, and it's not just a number. It's like the words that back up that number and how we get there. And I see a lot of people on Reddit and Twitter and stuff upset where it's like, why isn't Jedi Survivor getting the same treatment that Anthem or Cyberpunk did or whatever? It's like it is getting the same treatment. It's just that there are, I think, a lot more people that are satisfied with the experience of Jedi Survivor as a game in spite of the tech problems, whereas the other examples, I think a lot of people were let down, and those things did not outpace the issues that they had with the game.
Anthem, it was a thing of content and writing. That was not something that people was really looking for from that team for Anthem. And then Cyberpunk, you know, a lot of the early showing of that game gave a lot of promise of going beyond what any other RPG could do. And then when people got into it, it was like, yeah, it was the bug, it was the tech issues. But then I think when a lot of people sat with it, it was also like, oh, yeah, this is just, you know, it's an RPG.
And to be clear, it sucks. Like, I don't like it. Like, I wish I could. Game will come out and it is good, and I don't have to qualify everything. It's a pain in the ass for reviewers as well, because like I talked about this with Lucy actually on something yesterday. It's like the game we review is not the game you play, so it reflects poorly on us as well. Like by the time you get the game, it could be completely different, which could invalidate what we've said about it and retroactively put the pressure on us to go back and re-review and fix that stuff up, which is hard to do when you've got 100 different things to do, you know? So no one likes this situation. I wish it was like more developers get more time and more money to do it, but it's not realistic, is it?
Yep, absolutely.
Well said from two industry vets. I love hearing you guys deep dive into like topics like this. It's really, it's like it is the topic of conversation right now. It is interesting to hear your thoughts on that. Let's keep it going with Manic Pixel, who wants to have a little fun. Tim and Tam, I want your wildest Final Fantasy VII Rebirth theories.
Ooh.
Tim, you're my guy on that one. Get wild with me. What theory you got?
But my wildest theory, and this is like spitting in the face of the words that we were being told, but I just don't trust them. I think that this second game is going to be wildly different than the original. Like, I think we're going in a completely different direction, that while the first game made changes and there was a lot of differences, it was still a remake of the first Midgard bit of that game for the most part. I think that part 2 is going to be more new shit than a remake.
Yeah.
Even though they're presenting it and they keep saying, like, no, it's going to cover XYZ. It's like, I'll believe it when I see it.
So, spoilers for Final Fantasy. The thing that I think about most is the question that everyone has. Do they kill Aerith in the second game? Which, if they were going by the narrative beats of the original, they would. But one of the biggest, not criticism, one thing that people say about the original where Aerith dies, like, after you've spent so much time investing in her, like, grinding to make her, like, high level and making her your healer, they kill her and she's gone. And you're like, all my time. And that is something that people constantly talk about. So this is an opportunity for them to kind of address that. But also, it's tricky because the reason that hurts so much is because of the time and investment you put into it, as well as the character being, like, amazing. When you lose her, you're like, oh shit, man, I lost a character, someone I care about, a friend with me, and all that time and effort and all the, I now don't have a healer. So it would be, I think that they might have their cake and eat it too, where there's two timelines, one where she's dead, one where she's alive.
Yeah.
And it would be interesting to have Cloud and crew in a timeline where she's dead, but able to see into one where she's alive, but never reach out to her and never like be able to connect with her. It's just like we lost this person. She exists somewhere in this universe in an alternate, timeline of it, but we'll never have her back. And that could be a really interesting way to kind of do that.
Yeah.
And have both parts of it.
I'm so excited. I can't believe we're getting this game, Mike.
God damn.
Let's go, baby.
I'll tell you what,
Yeah.
you two get me so excited, and I know the chat is fired up with the fun one right there. Let's keep it going. Tam, we have a super chat that
Okay.
just says, "Give me the secrets, Tam.
Oh no!
Share us
Secrets.
one secret.
Give
What
a secret.
is
Any
it?
secret you got?
What's your secret?
Is there anything you can say about some shows or no?
Or like how the Warriors are gonna win?
Oh, that's not
Game
is
6
is
and
that
it's
a
over?
secret? Is
You
that
know
a
what I mean?
secret?
That's
I
a
don't
big
know.
secret.
I would love that to happen.
I think it's gonna happen.
That
Tam.
would be great.
That team's not coming
Yeah.
back. Not in Oakland. Not here in the Bay. No.
Yeah, it's hard. I've been in that stadium when the
Yeah.
Warriors are playing another
They had
team
to
and
win
it
in
hurts.
Sacramento. Yep.
Like,
Tough one.
What secrets I have? I'm not gonna reveal any industry secrets.
Okay,
because
no industry secrets, Tim. No
sadly,
industry
It's
secrets.
okay. It's
Um,
Tam secrets.
I have never seen the movie Princess Bride.
Wow.
Tam. I have never seen the movie Princess Bride until 3 months ago.
Okay, thank God.
And let me tell you,
Is it good?
it lives up to all of the hype
Okay.
that I've heard.
It's a
from
good
so
movie.
I
many
know
It's
years.
one of the
movie.
best movies.
I know
a
bits
good
of it,
movie.
so it's one of Lucy's favorite movies.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how has she
So-
let you not watch this movie, or have you
I
just not admitted
I
it
just
to her?
don't tell her.
Don't tell her. Don't tell her. Nobody tell
Nobody
that
tell her.
secret.
This is a secret, okay?
Nobody tell
Keep
her.
my secret. I've got the Blu-ray. I bought it, and I was
Oh,
like, I'm gonna watch
you're right
it.
there.
Yeah. I'm just there. I went all the way to the finish line and then fell asleep.
It's
go.
it's
Been
great. It was a really good, easy ass watch too.
All right, let's keep it going. My dog Nick 96 writes in and says, in lieu of the Twisted Metal news, the Ghost of Tsushima film will be directed by director of John Wick 4. What are your expectations for it? So now we have a director for Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
Ghost of Tsushima.
Tsushima.
Mhm.
Yeah. Tsushima.
I mean, I'm excited for it. The John Wick as a franchise is incredible, but John Wick 4 in particular is like a transcendent experience as far as I'm concerned. I could watch that movie just on loop forever because of how entertaining every single second of it is. So I just have total trust and faith in that team at this
Can you
point.
imagine if they just did John Wick with swords?
I mean,
like
that's
the same
kind
level of
it.
intensity.
That's the pitch, right? Like, and on top of that, I think that one of the things that Ghost has going for it that makes it so special is its visual identity and the style of it, and the use of wind and colors and flowers and all that. And like, I mean, dude, any shot of John Wick 4 screams style.
Yeah.
So I feel like it could on the look vibe and on the like choreography and action side, they can nail it.
Do actually think that this will be quite different from John Wick. I think like John Wick is a booming production. I think this will be that director's kind of like, I hope that he's using it as a statement to be like, I can do these action things, but I can also do these quieter, more like introspective stories that have action in them, but they're character focused in a different way. Because John Wick is fundamentally about that character, right? And all the chaos that comes out of it is still focused through all you still come out of it on the other side knowing that he did this for XYZ reason because it means this to him and it develops his character. And I feel like every action and like set piece serves that function. I think he might try and do the same thing on the other side and be like, it's going to serve this kind of character. We're going to try and make Jin, if it is Jin again, like a relatable, interesting character. And then you have a story between people and instead of like warring nations that you're just killing millions of. And, you know, there's loads of like material to lean on, like Kurosawa's stuff and that kind of stuff.
Rohan in the chat says Jin Wick.
Jin Wick is very good.
Good.
Jin Wick is very good.
Really
Good job, Rohan.
All right, we only have a couple more because we only have a little time left, so let's keep it going right now. Luke Milo Designs wants to write in and says, Tam, what's your game of the year so far, and what's your hype level on Armored Core?
Hype level on Armored Core is pretty high.
Okay.
Game of the year so far is probably Resident Evil.
Ooh.
Fantastic.
Yeah. It's I mean, it's interesting because I can't think of any other major, like any games that have stuck with me. I mean, like that to that level. I really enjoyed playing Dredge, but I don't know if that's game of the year material for me. But Resident Evil feels like a Game of the Year contender for me because it's great, and also it's also a kind of a swing. Like they didn't just one for one remake it; they did some interesting things with it, and I think for the most part, what they did they were successful with it. Remains to be seen what other games are like. Zelda's still got to come out, and there's a few other. Final Fantasy is one that I'm definitely like mad hype for. Street Fighter, I'm a Street Fighter player, so there's stuff there as well. Yeah, and there's supposed to be, a bunch of other games coming out this year, so we'll see.
Have I told you about Crime Boss Rocket City?
You fucking
Tam,
have.
I experienced my first part of the roguelite experience. I lost Blackjack and Rock Hard, two of my best soldiers.
Rock
RIP.
Hard.
There's a guy
RIP,
who-
Rock Hard, and
isn't-
Blackjack. I bought Alley Cat in their stay, and Alley Cat now is kitted with the machine gun, and hopefully she'll bring the ruckus. But it's tough
I have
to say
no
goodbye
idea
to
what you're
Blackjack.
talking about.
I love
Real
this.
tough
I
to
love
say
this.
goodbye. Let's go with our final one of the day. Fear the Grim wrote in and really wants to know, thank you, Fear the Grim, for your support. Hey, Tim, Tam, and Barrett. With Jedi Survivor releasing, I was wondering what expanded lore would you like to see made into canon and or a game, and why?
Oh, into it. Expanded lore into a game.
This is going to be a pretty easy. It's going to be a basic bitch answer because I think they started. No, that was Scoundrel, wasn't it? It was like I would like to see. So back in the before the Old Republic MMO came out, they were releasing these. Barrett, maybe you remember them. They were releasing these amazing like vignette short stories all about the Mandalore and the Mandalorians, and I had no context for them. I watched those and I was like, this is amazing. This is really good. And the story in Mandalorian is very different from that stuff. I would love to see a more like accurate. I don't know if it's still accurate because they mix all that stuff up again. Like a version of the Mandalorian story from that era, doing it properly instead of like here's Grogu and protect him. I would like to see the kind of like a Mandalorian legend brought up in the same way that video games are so good at.
Yeah. I mean, it's the most basic Tim answer I could possibly give. Just give me a good Luke Skywalker game. Good Luke Skywalker story. Fucking answer some good questions and allow me to hang out with my buds and have a good time.
Yeah.
You have
Post
a Luke
Jedi.
Skywalker. You have a good Luke Skywalker game. It's called Star Wars Battlefront 2, where you can play as him as a level and kill some bugs. Tim, you want to kill some bugs with Luke Skywalker, and he gets his little compass that you see for 30 seconds in Last Jedi. Doesn't that sound like a fun fucking time, Tim?
It doesn't. It really doesn't. But everything about that of like being able to play as Luke and as Han and like that stuff, I did enjoy, but I didn't like the story and I did not like the gameplay of that single player campaign. If it played like Jedi Survivor, come on, man.
I want to
This
shout
is
out Death
me.
Troopers
Yeah.
again.
I was
Anytime
just
this
about to say
question-
that. Yeah.
Anytime this question is asked about what we would want to turn into a game, there's a cool, like slightly horror Star Wars book called Death Troopers that I feel like does take heavy inspiration from Dead Space, and I would want to see it adapted into a Dead Space-like game. Give me a Star Wars horror game. It sounds rad as fuck. Also, I would like to see Tim, I always forget how to say his name. Is it Revan or Raven?
Revan, I think it is.
Revan. I would like to see Revan brought back into some like official capacity that isn't just the KOTOR remake or whatever,
Yeah. The chat's popping off with Small Watto. That is, I forgot about Small Watto.
Watto's
That is
very
the
important
answer.
to us.
We've been waiting for this fucking small Watto game for 4 years.
Yeah.
I like that.
Damn it, John
Tam
Drake.
saw mine. I've listened to a lot of audiobooks, and one of the audiobooks is Darth Maul Lockdown, and I thought this would be really badass.
Yeah.
Seeing Maul some more. He's one of our favorite characters in the universe, and going on this adventure would be pretty lit.
I would love to see him in his post recovering from episode 1 because like he gets like robot legs and shit and comes back like half mech, like a Metroidvania with that version of
Oh, sick.
Darth Maul, where that would be pretty cool.
Metroidvania of Maul. I kind of like that a lot.
Pretty badass. Well, this has
Yeah.
been a badass post show, hanging out with the two of you and Barrett on the ones and twos. Thank you to Kind of Funny all around the globe. Of course, best friends, thank you for hanging out with us on this post show. It's Friday. Feels like a Tuesday, but it's the end of the week and it's time to get some rest. We will be back here next week for more Games Daily. Of course, Tam is joining us on some very special shows. And of course, the boys are still streaming to you over on YouTube right now. There's a brand new link with a brand new thumbnail. You can go click on it. It is Andy and Nick playing Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Ooh.
They're going to be playing the first parts of the
Stunning.
game with all of you. And, of course, you know, shenanigans will ensue with those two jabronis. So make sure to go check it out. And, of course, it is live on Twitch if you're watching over there. Until then, we'll catch you back here Monday. Goodbye, everyone.